Alright, we're going to continue here with the Square It app. I went ahead and added a CSS sheet. I had one, but it didn't have any content in it. Not really a whole lot here. I've got a background color. I kind of like that comic friendly font. Set the margins to right and left here for the whole page. Set the font size for the general text. Then I put some styling here on the input elements. Specifically in the data form there that we have. I didn't like the fact that the font was a little smaller than it was, and I set that to a different style family and made it bold. And then I've got a frame here, and I put a div in the HTML to put the frame around. So now you can see that I have a div around what essentially is my user interface for the Square It. So let's go to split view here, and there we go. So we can see the border here. Looks like we need some padding here to fix this a little bit in the border, so I'll go ahead and go back and do that real quickly. And let's see here, padding, oops. And I'll just make that one EM all around there for be quick. That's one character. Again, you want to use the relative measurements, just percents and EMs. Don't use pixels or fixed measurements. Alright, let's take another look at this. That looks good. And now I'm going to go ahead and create an HTML app, which is really what I intended to show you here. Whoops. Let me go back to code view. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a manifest file here to the HTML element. So this is going to be manifest, and then this will be the name of the file. I'm going to call this squareit.manifest. At one point these used to be called application caches, and so sometimes you'll see they'll name the file .cache, but I understand best practice now is to name it manifest. Okay, we need to create the manifest file, so I'll just go to File, New, and for some reason they don't have this here. I was kind of surprised. If you go to Other and just get text, that'll work. Alright, now let's go ahead and save this with our correct name here. So save, and I want it to go in this file. So this is going to be squareit.manifest. Okay. By the way, I did rename my file. I forgot to name my template before. It was HTML template. So I named this index.html. Okay, so we're just going to have cache manifest. This is required. And then the names of all the files. Now usually I'll use a DOS command script to grab the names, but here it's pretty simple. So index.html, and then main.css, and then script.js. And you might have noticed that I was letting Dreamweaver help me with that by reading the names right there. When I have a whole bunch of names with images and such like that, I go to the DOS command line and I use batch file programming, scripting, to collect the names into a file. That way I don't have to take a chance of typing them and misspelling them. Alright, let's go ahead and save this. Control S. And actually that's all there is to it now. So we have our cache manifest and we have our files all set up, and now this should work. And I'm going to have to go ahead and put this on UC file space here to test this. So I'm going to wait for a second. I'll come back here once we get that done. Okay, so now I've uploaded the HTML5 Square It application, and we're looking at my UC file space. This is the sites directory. I've created a folder for the app called Square It. I have index, main CSS, script.js, and then the Square It manifest that I just created. So now I'm going to go ahead and try to open this and see what happens here. And I won't be able to show you this very well on my browser, but I'll tell you what happens here when I try it on my tablet in a second. So I'm going to go to homepages.uc.edu wolf t Square It, and I think that ought to do the trick. It should pick up the index.html file name there. Sure did. Okay, so we're looking at my application, and let's go ahead and try it here. So I'll put 3 in, Square It 9, that works. Let's put 3.45, Square It 1190, that seems reasonable. Okay, so now this is kind of weird. Chrome doesn't actually prompt you, as far as I know, to download the page to run it offline. So what I'm going to have to do now is switch over to my tablet to try that. And unfortunately, you're not going to be able to see that, but I'll walk you through it here. I'll talk about it as I go, okay? So let me pause this for a second and dig the... So again, I can't show you this because I'm recording from my laptop, but I just used my tablet to access this. I use the Opera web browser. It's an Android tablet. I thought that prompted me in the past, but today it didn't. So I pulled up the application, ran it. Then I switched the internet connectivity off, the Wi-Fi, and ran it again. So it had downloaded and it ran locally, but it didn't prompt me. So one of the browsers on the mobile, on my tablet that is, does prompt you, but it's kind of weird. It seems like if you go to the page, they just automatically download the application, which seems like a security issue to me, but we'll have to look into it and see. Anyway, that's how you create the HTML5 application, and it will run now, and I didn't have to do any heavy lifting here. Didn't have to download and install it or anything. The browser just got it for me for offline storage. Okay, let's go ahead here and click done.